Good morning, it's spring on the farm. This is Beet Farmin Mitch, but today Wheat Farmin Mitch because we're gonna be seeding some wheat. So I'm in the seed truck. We're gonna go load up with some wheat seed. So another year back at it, crop season 2026. So we got some ground that's fit today. We gotta get our seed, we gotta get our fertilizer. We don't have to get the air seeder ready because I've been busting hard working on getting that thing tuned up and ready for its mission. Welcome to the Red River Valley of North Dakota. A land flowing with milk and honey. You're watching Beet Farmin Mitch. Getting seed. It's a windy one today. Here we go, the maiden voyage. Our tanks are full, so we're taking it easy on the road, but going to the field to get started on plant 2026. You know, the first YouTube video I ever made was seeding wheat in 2021. 5 years later, here we are. Thanks for following along. So I am seeding wheat today, but I am Beet Farmin Mitch. So we grow sugar beets too. Our wheat and sugar beets typically are two first crops that we plant on our farm, and then corn, and then soybeans, pinto beans, navy beans, sunflower, something like that. So if any of those crops interest you, be sure to subscribe, like, and give me a comment. What has been your favorite crop to watch? Maybe I can focus on making some more videos on that specific crop. And I watched the tractor yesterday and a little rain sprinkle came through last night. And not as clean anymore, but you know what? That's farming. I do have clean windows though. There we go, got my new crystal bean seed hat. And we're planting wheat. So this field was sugar beets last year, so it was a little rough. We had a hard harvest last year, it was super wet and muddy at the end. This field had some tracks in it, was a little rough. Ran a field cultivator through it. Not too deep. And it looks pretty good now. So the moisture, it's good in places on this field, but because of some of the tracks, it's a little harder in some of those spots, so I gotta make sure I'm keeping the down pressure up a little bit. So kind of some soft spots in this field, some hard spots in this field, but I think I got her dialed in pretty good. The sun is setting. How many acres we got? 23.8. The old timers say 23. That's how you know you're talking to a good person there when they say 3. Systems, normal. So for wheat population, you go by the bushel or the pound. So we're about 120 pounds or 2 bushels an acre, okay? Because 1 bushel of wheat's 60 pounds. So that's like a lot of seeds. I don't even know how many seeds are in a bushel. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions. So a lot of seed going in the ground, plus we're also putting some starter fertilizer on, granular. And I got a 2-year-old son, and hey, if he's not fed, he's not happy, so we like to feed our wheat and keep it happy. Can see some sugar beets still laying there. Not many, but there's a few. It almost looks like some of the leaves, I don't know if you can see it, they still got some green in them. I love this air seeder. This thing does a nice job seeding wheat. Pretty simple machine, but pretty complex at the same time. You got your tank. It's like pulling a grain cart around with all your seed and fertilizer, and there's meter rollers on there, and it blows it through all these big hoses, and then all these big hoses turn into little hoses, and all those little hoses go to an individual row. Technically it's 64 rows, but you would refer to this as a 40-foot air drill. 7.5-inch spacing. They do make 10-inch spacing drills. I'm sure some of you watching have that. Most people around here run 7.5. You know, we used to have a hoe drill back in the day. That thing, we just didn't have any good luck with it. Just wasn't a great drill. course, they made disc versions of those too. Maybe that would have been better. But this thing, it's got discs on there. It does a nice job. The hoe drill is basically like a little mini cultivator or a chisel plow tip that goes in the ground, and that's your seeding mechanism. And before we had the hoe drill, we had a 6200 press drill, kind of like an old school grain drill. I do remember that as a kid. And before that, I don't know, we probably had some 15-foot little drill, and before that we were doing it with horses, and before that we were doing it with by hand. So I'm the 6th generation, and here we are today. So I am pretty blessed. I got it pre-made compared to some of the situations my ancestors had to go through. Climate controlled cab. Turn and burn, baby, turn and burn. But I don't have any fields to go to after this one yet, so don't exactly need to push it too hard. The first day of planting, usually it's not 100 miles an hour. Because usually you go by your very first field that's ready and the rest of them aren't quite there yet. These other ones are still a little wet. God is good. Well, a successful first day. But we don't have any fields ready after this, so we're not going to push it too late. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And stay tuned, I'm bringing the drone. In fact, little off-screen thinking here. Maybe we should just transition to tomorrow when I have a drone flying above the air seeder. This one's called a Cosmic Crisp. I like Cosmic Crisps. Uh-oh, I got to turn. Need all my hands. And check this out. Premium red leather seat. Gotta have the cherry air freshener. Ah, looks like Dad's coming to check out the progress. We'll see if he agrees with my choice of seating them. Cosmic Crisp. Give it a try. I like it. I believe they have like a special patent on them though. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry for the screen flutter, but I'm getting kind of empty. I think this will be my last round and I'll have to fill. Then 90 acres. Should be able to squeak one more round out. Time to fill. We got our seed and fertilizer up here. We're gonna pull up behind them and top off. Well, actually no, not top off. I got a bit of a road trip after this field, so 3/4 full. That'll be enough for me to finish here. Because I don't want too much in here for travel either. So check this out, new heating lunchbox. Nice cheap one off Amazon, Travelissimo. I think it was 40 bucks. Even has a nice little fork and knife holder. I had an old one called Lunchies, but the battery went out. I got a new battery and it still kind of went out the next year. And that one was pretty expensive. So I wanted to get one of these cheaper ones and test it out. My brothers have these and they were kind of saying they were a pretty nice one. So I got a couple smoked pork chops in here. And I just started it. Oh, that thing's hot. I just started it a little bit ago. So we'll give it 15 minutes, flip it, and see what we got. And if you forget this thing outside and run it over, not a big deal. But you have to have a power source for this one. See that Lunchies box I used to have? You didn't have to have a power source. It had a battery. Then you had to charge it every day. So I kind of like this one. Since I'm usually eating lunch in a tractor, it's always a 12-volt charger. And this thing gets hot enough, I think you could probably fry a couple eggs in it. All right, it's officially lunchtime. Oh, we're still plugged in. And this thing is getting hot. Get that nice golden pork chop. And I have a confession to make. I love barbecue sauce. So I gave myself a pretty generous helping because I don't want to run out. Oh, I forgot to pray it. There you go. So we'll wash her down with the V8. Almost to the end of this field. Time for a road trip. Can you guess what this field was last? That's right, sunflowers. So we're on some different ground here now, but I didn't change my depth. I think this will be pretty comparable to where we were before. We'll check it when we hit the end. Got my depth checker. Set on D right now, right? So F is as deep as you can go, A is as high as you can go. Well, it actually goes above A. Usually in our soils, and depending on the disc wear, you know, the more these wear, the deeper you'll have to go. Anywhere from C to E, pretty much. So D is kind of right in the middle of that. But yeah, so these spin, they're at a slight angle. And then there's this boot on the other side. And the seed tube's in the middle. Put your seed down, close it up with that, and you're good to go. Okay, there's a piece of fertilizer. That's about 1.5 inches. The wheat's gonna be, that's probably a little more than 1.5 inches. But it's in moisture, especially that's a soft spot. If you come back, like behind where the track on the tractor is, see that stuff's not as deep. See, that one is, and that other one. But yeah, there you go, that's in good moisture there, not too deep. So it's all about finding the balance. Get the seed in the moisture, but don't sink it too deep. And every time I stop, I like to take a look, make sure all my hoses are plugged in. Because if it unplugs at the bottom, the sensor for if your row is plugged, it's up there. So if this thing just unhooks, it's spraying seed, you won't know until you see it. It's nothing worse than planting and one of your rows isn't seeding. Not a fun way to start the year. I have done that. Boy, it feels good to be rolling again, boys, huh? You know, and maybe some of you watching this, you don't farm, but you tuned your lawnmower up, you're working in your garden. It's that time of year. So yeah, we farmed that field over there too with all the snow in it. So at least that one's not gonna be sugar beets or wheat this year. That one's supposed to be navy beans. They're gonna be a little bit before that one is fit. Although I have seeded wheat into a snowdrift before. It was just kind of a little finger drift out into a field. So it can be done. But we got a little bit of a wet spot down there, but I'm gonna try plant what I can. That's the only wet spot on this field. You're not gonna wait for that thing to dry up. We're just gonna seed as much as we can, and if I gotta come back with a hand spreader or a little spreader or something to patch that in, that's fine. Rule number 1 is don't get the tractor stuck. Rule number 2 is don't slug this thing full of mud. But I might have to do some scraping. Sometimes if you go through a wet spot, the wheels, the depth bands get covered in mud. feel like that's gonna happen here soon, so we'll see. We're gonna go for this first pass anyway. Yeah, that was a little wet there, but we got through it. I think that's as close as I'm gonna get. Alright, let's go see what the damage is. Okay, so you see how this has got some mud on it? Well, the side doesn't really matter, but this part does, because you don't want mud on there, because you'll actually not be seating as deep. So if we clean this off, same with this closing wheel, you want to clean this groove out. But the worst thing is if inside of the wheel here, if this gets packed with mud inside, it'll plug up in here and stop spinning the wheel. They do make open spoke ones, but I don't really know that we go through enough mud on our farm to justify that. But if you farm in slough country, I guess they work pretty good. And I just heard word from the boys back home, they started on beets, so we got some acres of beets in today. But we're almost done. Probably 3 rounds left. Finished before dark, that's pretty good. And we got her wrapped up. Well, it's fun to be back in the tractor. Thank you for watching. First couple days of planting is off to a good start. But anyways, this is Beet Farmin Mitch. Thanks for watching. And as always, don't forget to keep it sweet.